Got to talk about Anthony Davis. Didn't see a lot of him towards the end of the season. Obviously hurt in the playoffs. Kind of hurt the Lakers' chances a little bit. He's had the injury bug in the past. And obviously what happened this past season, missed half of it. Does he need to kind of change the way he plays, do you think?
No, I don't think he needs to change how he plays because that's what's so great about him is the way he plays and the versatility that he brings to the table. If anything, given his history of injuries, and I'm not a trainer, but I've seen guys like Patrick Ewing, guys like David Robinson, who was a masterful guy in the offseason, took care of his bodies, because the more you can build up strength and certain parts of your body, you can withstand certain things. And so his body is yet, and I know some of the injuries are fluke, and you avoid those. But over his career, he has a few dings here, a few dings there. Unlike LeBron, who we know puts about $2 million into his body every year, specifically to make sure that when he takes those hits, he can absorb them. And what I've seen LeBron turn his ankle several times, but I thought he'd be out of the game, and he just gets up. And I think a lot of athletes, Russell Westbrook's another one. A lot of athletes are in tune to that. And I think AD, it's just my observation, may need to take a look at how he works out in the summertime, because I know he works out hard and probably does a great job. But there are certain things that you have to realize as you progress through the NBA. And one of them is your body. And can you withstand the hits and the pain and play through that? So, yeah, that's something I'm sure he's taking a look at.
After missing so many games, and again, it was 39 out of 78, including the playoffs. Does he have to maybe come back with more drive than anyone else on the team?
It's time. LeBron is in his 19th year. I believe AD has 3 more.
3, yep.
3 more. He's 27, 28 years old. So, yeah, he is at that age. LeBron did it earlier, where he was very demanding and a leader, a most valuable type player. So yeah, whenever you have that type of talent, you don't want to defer. I can see if LeBron was, maybe in his 12th year or something like that, or maybe it would still be LeBron. But no, it's time for AD. He is the future. If LeBron decides to retire, and I don't know, whenever he's going to do that, AD needs to prepare himself to be the elite player. He's got a lot of years left in this league. He's learned a lot from playing with LeBron, and he's going to learn a lot from being around these other veterans this year. So it's time for him to be, the dog. And he's shown that he's, when he's on, he's that guy. There's no question about it. When he's fully engaged and injury-free, he is the most dominant player on the floor.
And he does indeed have 4 more years, including this season coming up. A lot of talk about him moving to center. And he said before in the past, I don't love it, but I'll do it if need be. Is that the best spot for him on this roster, as you can see it?
I think initiating Anthony Davis in the post is the best option. Yeah. I've never been one of those players to say, oh, I don't want to play 3. I want to play 4. I want to play.
Right.
And so I don't know what the problem is maybe who he defends or where he is on the floor. But I think the 5 is a good spot for him, because other 5s don't have a shot at guarding him. You want to make the opponents make adjustments. Him at the 5, shooting the 3, is going to pull Gobert out, or they're going to have to put somebody small on him, and he can take advantage of that. So I think he needs to look at what position best suits the team and what position best suits how they want to play before he just says, one or the other.
This might sound crazy, but he is now the 2nd longest tenured Laker.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy. Now that Kuzma's in Washington, AD, congrats. You're the guy. He's about to start his 3rd season with the franchise. Anything in his game that you'd like to see him develop or maybe improve a little bit?
The only thing, I'm a post-up player. I'm an old post-up player, and I love it when he initiates his game in the low post first. And especially when he gets it and he goes quick. And that's something that, growing up being a 6'2" guard and still having a little bit of that mentality, that he's grown in height, when he does it, he's unstoppable. But a lot of times the things that make him get down in there is when he gets mad, when he gets challenged, then he goes to work. So yeah, I like him in the low post at the 5, and I'd like to see him initiate there first, because he's also a great free throw shooter, and so it gets the other team in foul trouble, slows the game down for him. Then he can go out and do what he wants, shoot threes, ISO, but the closer he is to the bucket, the better success.
Good stuff.
I'm so tired whenever I hear Anthony Davis's name, and he's a bad boy. He's a bad boy.
Top 5 in the world when healthy.
Okay, this is great. This is exactly where I want to go. Is he top 5, Stephen A?
Yeah.
Because I know top 5 players can carry franchises.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James can carry a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden can carry a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. KD can carry a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis is carrying a franchise. Steph is carrying a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
What I see happening with AD when all these guys, when LeBron or Dennis Schroeder, can he carry this Lakers team without them? 'Cause that's what top 5 players do.
Well, health-wise, I'm not so sure. But what I would say is I'll throw a position out with you. We religiously have debates about LeBron. Well, it's not a debate for me because it's always MJ. But there are people out there who've had the debate LeBron and against MJ, right?
I'm here. Yeah, that's
Okay.
me.
But we don't mention enough Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 19-time All-Star, 6-time league MVP, 6-time, NBA champion, the greatest scorer in the history of the game in terms of points, scored over 38,000 points. Because when you're a big man and you're dependent on guard play to get you the ball and you need that level of assistance, we appreciate and recognize your dominance, but at the same time, it does take something away from you when you're not the guy that's bringing the ball up the court. You're not the guy on the perimeter making things happen for other people, not just yourself, because you're more of a guard than a big man. And I think with Anthony Davis, that's the issue. When you look at him, even though he shoots 15 to 17 feet away from the basket and what have you, he's basically a big man, won a national championship at Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
He's obviously a defensive wizard. He's a shot blocker. He can rebound. He definitely can change shots if he's not blocking shots. So we know how formidable he is on the defensive end of the floor. Offensively, he's good for 25 to 29 a game when healthy, and he's a walker. He's a guy that can walk around averaging 28 and 10. But we still look at him as a guy that needs perimeter players to facilitate things for him, and that's the reason why you can make the argument of him not being top 5. But I just say top 5 because I'm giving him credit for how he impacts the game defensively when healthy. When he is healthy, he's good for those 25 to 30 a game. He's good for 8 to 10 rebounds a game.
I'm with you on this.
But he will also block and alter many, many shots. And you saw that in the conference finals against the Joker last year with Denver. He was running roughshod over everybody, but when he went up against Anthony Davis, it was a little bit different because Anthony Davis is a formidable defensive player.
Yeah, that is the difference. With big men in the league, it's always been that way, is that they rely on someone to get them the ball, right? As opposed to, the guards or forwards like a Luka Doncic or those types of players who they control the game. But you mentioned Jokic, he kind of controls the game. The ball runs through him. I mean, he dominates that offense now, especially without Jamal Murray. I mean, what he did to the Knicks last night in the first quarter.
Yeah, he did. He took him to school. No question. Mid bag of shells, though. Just one game.
Yeah, you hope
so.
Right. We definitely shake that off, right?
It's all right. Well, listen.
I felt the same way. I almost felt like,
hey, listen, don't worry about that. Fact of the matter is, if the Knicks were blessed and fortunate enough to go to the NBA Finals, which is obviously not going to happen this year, they would only have to face one of those teams. They ain't got to face everybody. See, the Eastern Conference you take more seriously. The Western Conference, okay, you went against Denver. You ain't got to see them again. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to be all right.
So in the East then, are the Nets still the team?
Without question. Listen. Let's be real about something here. The Nets healthy, they're the favorite to win it all. They should win it all. I fully expect them to win it all. When KD is healthy, I think KD is the best player on the planet. That's just how I feel about him. I think, Magic Johnson, God bless him. I don't believe a damn word he said when he said, if I had to have somebody shoot the last shot, it would be LeBron over KD. I don't believe that for 1 second.
No chance.
That is just lies,
right.
Okay? And I love my man Magic, but I don't believe him. The Nets are the real deal. Here's the problem. They're not very likable. You start off the season And I like him. I'm cool with KD. But there are people that look at him and they accuse him of being sensitive with the social media stuff. James Harden, you know what happened with him in Houston before he came to Brooklyn. Kyrie announces on day one that he ain't interested in talking to the media and all of this other stuff. And then you talk to people who cover the team. And it's not the most flattering things that you hear about them as people. Mm-hmm. And so when you combine that with the way the Knicks have elevated themselves to relevancy, here's what it's come down to. New York Knicks make the playoffs and get to the second round of the playoffs. If the Brooklyn Nets don't win it all, nobody will be talking about them.
Literally. You mean if they lose let's say they lose in the finals?
Well, we'll be talking about them. We'll be talking about them in a different way.
We'll be talking about them while the games are being played. But I'm just talking about an offseason where you reflect on how that team feeds off of that crowd is something special. And then when you take into account how we saw them perform on the road, I got to give credit where credit is due. They got some young thoroughbreds that go after it, and they firmly believe they can beat these Lakers. Listen, they respect LeBron. They respect Anthony Davis. They understand how elite those dudes are when healthy. They ain't worried about nobody else on the Lakers. They don't feel anybody else on the Lakers can mess with them. And their whole thing is Anthony Davis is hobbled. Let's try and neutralize LeBron. LeBron got to go out there and be like a man possessed. Why is 40% of your shots from three-point range? Why? Why is that? Go in the paint. Go in the hole. You 6'9". You healthy. You 6'9". Not healthy completely, but healthy enough. You 6'9", 260. You're bigger and stronger than most. Obviously faster than most as well. You're the modern-day version of Superman. Go up in there. Take Jay Crowder or whomever else in the post, get to the free throw line, do what you got to do to be that man amongst boys, and handle your business. That's what LeBron should be doing, because let me tell you something. That's their only hope. KCP, he ain't 100%. In 15 minutes, he didn't give you anything. Dennis Schroeder should be ashamed of himself. Ashamed of himself. A donut, 0 points, and you play over 26 minutes? What the hell is wrong with you? Kyle Kuzma was the only dude that came off the bench. And by the way, Anthony Davis, this is a delicate situation, Max and Molly. And Max, you know me when I tell you what I'm hearing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, everyone read between the lines.
This is one of those moments, okay? Anthony Davis, no one. We all love Anthony Davis, respect the unibrow, the hell he's when healthy, one of the greatest players in the world. Here's the deal. No one is questioning the legitimacy of Anthony Davis's injury. We all know he's hurt. We know that if he could play, he'll play. But tonight, with the season on the line, people are looking at him with a raised eyebrow. And here's why. No pun intended. Here's why. Because what are you doing with your body in the off season? What are you doing during the season to take care of yourself so you don't find yourself in these kind of situations? Because he's perpetually injured all the time. That's how people are looking at him. So tonight, everybody knows he's not going to be 100%. The question is, can you go? LeBron James is out there by himself. You going to go out there and help your brother? Because I'm telling you right now, nobody wants to hear, well, I need to be cleared by team doctors. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. I can tell you that. They ain't trying to hear it. They're looking at him like, you make that damn call. Caesar's on the line. What you going to do? If you can't go, you can't go. And we ain't questioning his injury. We're questioning whether or not you can play through it to help your brother, because LeBron James got a battle of his life right here waiting for him tonight in Phoenix. They coming.
First of all, the reason LeBron's taking so many outside shots, Stephen A., as you know, is too much traffic in the paint. And that's because they have no respect for the Lakers shooters. And why should they? Lakers shooters have not been hitting shots. Dennis Schroeder, it was a no-show. First, Stephen A., as I talked about it yesterday, first Laker in history, first L.A. Laker since they moved to L.A., first Los Angeles Laker in history in the playoffs to attempt at least 9 shots, have 0 points. So why would the Suns respect the Lakers shooters? But here's the thing. LeBron's got to be great, obviously. If LeBron's not great, they can't win. I'm with you on AD. If AD can go at all, he's got to try. But here's the thing. Chris Paul is not Chris Paul right now. Now, the end of that game, his shoulder looked like it was hanging on by a thread. It looked like he was in excruciating pain, like he was not the same guy. And while it's not a lower extremity, so he can actually walk out onto the court, he can run around, I don't think we can expect him to be the Chris Paul who can help carry a team. So what does that mean? That means I'm looking at Devin Booker. And I said this going into the series. I thought there may come a time where LeBron, on a bad ankle and all, has to do something about Devin Booker defensively. And I think the time may have come. One thing I know for sure is obviously LeBron must be the best player on the floor. You can say, well, yeah, of course. That wasn't the case in game one. Booker came out, saw LeBron, AD, and Chris Paul. He was the best player on the floor. LeBron must be the best player in the game. And if he can be, Stephen A., once you start thinking, well, take the real AD off the Lakers, okay, take the real Chris Paul off the Suns. Lakers can win this game.
Lakers can win this game. They better win this game. I assume there will be a game 7, and I'm not running from that because I think LeBron on his home court tonight is going to be a monster. He has to be. He has to show up. But I emphasize the fact that, again, while others got to show up, all eyes are on Anthony Davis right now. Listen, again, nobody's questioning that he's injured. We wouldn't do that to that brother. You know, he's not that kind of man. If he can play, you know, he wants to be out there. He wants to play. But I'm just telling you, people are looking at him like, okay, what do you do to take care of yourself during the season? Do you stretch enough? What are you doing to take care of yourself during the offseason? Remember, he came on First Take about a year ago. And what did he say? He said, listen, there were people that were questioning me, you know, and talking about I was a bit frail and what have you. So I was in that gym, got bigger, got stronger. I'm ready for the run. And then he backed it up and went in the NBA Finals. It could have easily been the NBA Finals MVP with his numbers averaging 30 and doing what he did. But the flip side is now it's reverted back to form. And all year long, people have